Well, well, well. Looks like we're going live and we're going to stay live. So, how's everybody tonight? Thank you for coming. I don't know who's here yet, if anybody. Got to make myself look pretty for everybody. Oh, looks like this is going to be a fully packed house tonight. Welcome, welcome. Say hello. Hi, Brian. Hey, thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. So my dinner has arrived. Thank you for coming by. Is that Erica? Hello, Erica. Welcome to my channel. I haven't seen you before. I haven't seen any of these faces before. So welcome to my channel. Yeah, I'm just, I'd like chatting with people. Nothing in particular, but if you want to bring something up, how was your day? Well, my day so far has been pretty cool. It's been fun. It's it's a holiday, so just relaxed, took it easy, stay out of trouble. I mean, isn't that the number one thing? We got to stay out of trouble. You are in Germany right now. Nice. I don't think I've been to Germany. I've been close. I've been to Holland a number of times, which is right next to Germany. Hey, Brian, if you just beat cancer, good for you. One thing you should know about cancer, it cannot live in an alkaline environment. So the big thing to do is keep your pH down in your body. There is a way to keep it out now that you've gotten rid of it. And the other thing is, there's something called black seed oil. It's derived from the seed of the curcumin, black curcumin. Not terribly expensive to buy, and I think it's 5 milliliters, or no, 1 milliliter per day will absolutely keep cancer out of your body. but look it up. Um, there was an article that I read a number of years ago on Green Med Info, and it talked about the title of it, Black Seed Info, or Black Seed Oil Cures Everything But Death. So I mean, since I know about it now, I regularly take black seed oil. And I monitor my body's pH level. So every morning before I have my coffee, before I have anything to drink, I do a saliva pH test. So yeah, just a little bit of information that I'm sharing with you. And if you guys haven't figured it out already by what I'm putting in my mouth, I decided to treat myself to a McDonald's dinner tonight. Oh, I'd flip the camera around and show you what I'm looking at. But right now it's just a stack of bales of lumber because I'm not driving. Gotta have a chocolate shake when I go to McDonald's. Love them. When nobody else has anything to say, well, don't be scared. Please say hello. I like to talk. But I like to know who I'm talking to as well. Hello, Abby. How are you, sweetie? You see what's on the ground here, Abby? We got the whole pile of snow yesterday. But then the temperature climbed. Right? So now, all that snow that we got is pretty much gone again. There's a year's accumulation of snow at this lot. That's it. I definitely got to be hands-free because the police station is right there on my left. Now, those of you who watch me, have run into me, and other streamers' chats, when I tell you that I am very, very close to the United States, I'm not kidding. And I'll show you just how close I am to the U.S. See the river right in front of me? The land on the other side of that river is the United States. That's how close I am. So, this river is the boundary between the two countries. And when it's open water like this, you can take your boat right up to within a foot of the shore without a problem. But when it freezes over, you cannot cross the actual line because they consider it solid. And now, you're crossing the international boundary. So now you get an idea of how close I am to this, or you know how close I am to the States, eh, Abby? We'll do a bit of a slow roll through town and show you some of the cool stuff around here. It's not as cool as San Antonio. I love, the times I've been able to visit there. It was great. One of our local hotels. So this road that I'm on right now is part of the Trans-Canada Highway. Highway 11, which is the longest single jurisdiction highway in the world, 1,898 kilometers from Queens Quay in Toronto on Lake Ontario. It starts off as Yonge Street and continues all the way to 102 kilometers behind me to the town of Rainy River, where it crosses or comes to the bottom of the bridge to Baudette, Minnesota. At this time of year, we start to get a whole lot of problems on the street and roads because the temperatures cross the freezing point so often that any water that gets into the asphalt and underneath in between the layers then pops the upper layer right off. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, right? But there were signs that said U.S. traffic keep right. Oh, wait a minute. What does that sign say there? Bridge to the USA. And as I make the left turn here, so those cars lined up on the other side of the bushes are ones coming into Canada from the United States, right? And there's our border inspection station. Now I'm going to park in such a way that we can look over and watch people coming back from the States. Where is the bridge? Okay. The bridge, let me get my finger into the camera. Bridge is right there. That's part of it. You see that high superstructure? That's part of it. And if you let's see if I can get something a little thinner than my finger. Right. Oh, now behind that truck. Right there is the U.S. Right there. Okay? Is the U.S. Customs and Border Control. It does not take long to cross that bridge. That truck that you saw passing through is just about to enter the customs. There he goes. He's swinging into the customs booth now. That was the entirety of his crossing. About 3 minutes in a big truck, and he was taking his time. Hey, hi Hardy. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I got something better than coffee. I've got a chocolate shake from McDonald's. So Hardy, you didn't hear me telling Abby earlier, but this, what we're looking at right now, is the United States. The factory, all of this over here, that is a paper factory owned by Boise Paper. Now, I'm going to take the phone off the mount for a minute. Right there, that building is a hydroelectric generating station. So there are the turbines in there that make the electricity are turned by water falling down because there's a big step in the river right here. It drops about 20 feet. So they use that water pressure to turn the hydroelectric turbines, and they generate enough power. Oh, I'm not traveling anywhere. I just came to town. Um, I just came to town to get some food, right? Get out of my dungeon, get some fresh air, get some sunlight. So, yep, power plant, hydroelectric. Hydro, is a different way of saying water. I'm not sure what the output capacity of this plant is, but the entire town of Fort Frances behind me runs off the power from that generating station. Now that the paper mill that used to be on this side, which had been deactivated for many years, about 3 years ago, they brought in machines and they leveled it. Because the better part of the plant was well over 100 years old. But we don't save buildings that are that old because they're just, well, we don't need them anymore, so we'll just demolish them. We won't find another use for, a massive, massive, massive building that has been built out of brick and, lumber that is all dried and strong as the steel. No, we'll demolish the whole damn thing. So yeah, that is I'll back up. Right on the other side of this fence, where those big round things are sitting right there. That was the outline of the building, and the building was 20, about 20 feet into the ground and stood another 16 feet above this level. It was beautiful. It was yellow brick, right? I think they saved one of the newest buildings down there. But all the brick buildings, all gone. The fence that's right there, that's a new fence because that used to be the outside wall of the building. So I had to put a fence in when they took the building out. Here, we'll go for a quick walk. Give you an idea of what we have here for a brown wheel. So that right there, okay, that is part of the hydro station, but that's what this whole building that used to sit right here, all right, was built with, was that brick. Right? All of this, pretty much everything you see in this shot is part of the old plant. And then it ran a huge, way down in behind over there. All of that, all along the river, was part of the plant. And it was over there where the logs came in from the forest, and then they were brought down to pulp, and then came across overhead lines, and the lines that made the paper were in this building, and the paper went out that way. So that was the shipping department that was down there. But that is the river between Canada and US. So now you see, Hardy, when I say I can be in the United States in 10 minutes, it's not that far. Uh-huh. Oh, that's not a soda. That's a milkshake. Yep, it's very near. Now we'll take the scenic drive. So here is the Customs and Immigration building. So when you come into Canada, you've got to deal with the people in that building first thing. And if you don't deal with them, then you'll be heading to another building I'll point out for you. So on my right is a parking lot. That was, staff parking for the paper mill. Now I can. Now, all of this field here, all of that. There's those buildings again. So there you can see right there you can see that bridge to the States, but all this land in between, that was all that paper mill. And a lot of it was buildings, and they're all gone. They left one little building there, and they left two buildings there. Oh, they've opened this up. Interesting. Or is this a new building? This looks like a brand new building here. Nope, not. It's an old building. But this was all part of the old plant. Cool. Never seen this before. This was always behind the fence. Looks like this is open this way to get out. Yep, it is. So there's the river again, open to the or with the U.S. on the other side. Here on the left is our local hospital. Hello, Joseph. Welcome to my stream if you're still here. I'm just going to take a drive along the river here and show you some of where I live. The roads here are pretty rough because the frost is so deep, and different types of material underneath the roads that freeze and thaw at different rates and different intensities, that it causes the road to heave or shrink, settle differently, so that the road winds up going up and down. Here on the left, actually, I'll just swing in here. Boop. So this is where the local town puts the snow that it removes from the downtown core, piles it up in there so that when it melts off, it goes off into the river. Oh, that is no longer an exit. That part of the lot has been sold. Backwards. And that structure right there is an old fire watch tower. And in the summertime, you can pay to climb that tower and look out over the whole area. You can see about 40 miles from there. And it was way back when very normal for there to be watchtowers like that throughout the forest. So they would place them every roughly 60 to 70 miles apart, and the guys up there would stand there with binoculars and look over the whole region they were in to spot forest fires, and they were equipped with radios in order to radio in that there was a problem and get firefighting crews out. So yeah, we're still running alongside the border here, but we're coming up to a spot that they call the point. And at the point, there's also a railroad bridge between Canada and the United States that handles an incredible amount of rail traffic. There just doesn't happen to be one crossing right now. But it handles an incredible amount of rail traffic. I believe it's on a normal business day, there's anywhere from 20 to 30 trains that are 2 kilometers long going through here. And the reason they put this raised overpass over the rails is because this train goes through here very slow. There's bends and turns that the train takes, and it moves at about not even 10 miles an hour. So my right now is part of the Rainy River, or the opening of the Rainy River. And the land that you've seen on the other side, there's the bridge I was talking about. So that structure, let me see if I can catch it. That structure right there, that is the rail bridge between Canada and the United States. And that bridge is only 30, 35 feet long. It's very, very short. I mean, at this point, the countries are almost touching. And believe it or not too far west of here, there is no water in between them. It is a land crossing. It's like going, in the Philippines, one province to the next. Yes, that is white snow. And the white right there that you see, that is actually snow on ice. Okay? So the river is still frozen. That part of the river is still frozen. But wait till I get to the other end, get around the other side of these railroad tracks. Oh, I thought there was another crossing here. Oh, so you can see how short that distance is between the two countries here. It's not much. Back here. Okay, that's open already. Yep, up and over. Now, you can see that here there is some open water because this is the bottom end of Rainy Lake. And that right there where the bridge is the mouth of the Rainy River. So the water through here is always moving. And because the water moves, it has a hard time to freeze. But yeah, everything here is, we had fresh snow yesterday late afternoon or afternoon. We had snow falling quite hard. I think we got about 6 inches, And if you look, you'll see that, even now there's only maybe an inch and a half of snow. The rest is already melted away. On the right here is a local hotel that's always struggling because it is off the beaten path. I'm going to go a little or through this up ahead here. So that building there with the white roof on it, the big one, that is a relatively new school built by a First Nation community. It's a post-secondary education, focusing on trades and marketable skills. This street here that we're at now is the line of the First Nation territory. Look at that. Airplanes. So those are, the red one is, let's see, it looks like they're all, yeah, the red one is, the blue one at the far end is, they're Piper Caravans. And he's got a few here that are donors. They've taken the wings off of them, the engines. They are used for flying people into fishing camps that you cannot drive to. You cannot take a four-wheeler to. You cannot get there except by flying there. And you can also use those airplanes to fly into some of the First Nations communities that are also only accessible by airplane, except in the winter time. You can drive there because get across with heavy loads. And this week, actually the last weekend, probably today is the last day that those roads will be open for this year. And when I had to go on Wednesday, I worked a long day. It was to go and look after a unit that was heading into one of those communities. And the driver came out yesterday. So he drove in Thursday. Yeah, I fixed it Wednesday. He drove in Thursday morning. So he's on his way out today. I'm back home. So this is a First Nation community. One of the Ojibwe tribes. So one of the the First Nations community, or First Nation people, they're like clans. So you have it in Philippines too, and mainly I'm reaching out to Howdy here. So you have different ethnicity groups within the Philippines, like Visayas, I can't remember all of them, but anyways, I think you know what I mean. Before colonization, they were distinct communities, distinct groups. We still have that here in Canada. because of the treaties that were made with the indigenous people when Canada became, or before Canada became a country, and under the rule of Britain. They made treaties with different groups of indigenous. This group has what is called Treaty 3. And they're pretty much all Ojibwe. They pretty much speak the same language. They have primarily the same cultural background. There are still differences between the different smaller groups. So even though we're technically still in the community, you see how sparsely populated it is here. All right, coming up here on the left, I'm going to take this out and just swing it over so you can see it. That area, you cannot walk in there. That is all water, and in places that water is 40 to 60 feet deep. But there's floating root balls from the reeds there. Hey Dave, welcome. I got to be careful because I'm driving. I don't want to be paying too much attention to the phone. That gas station there on the left, that opened up a little over a year ago. They have fuel at a hell of a good price. Basically, they've wiped out the taxes that you pay to the federal government, like the federal sales tax. So now we have left. Just up ahead after I go over this bridge. This is an elevated bridge so that boating traffic can go underneath. Because on the right there's a huge marina in the First Nation. Now watch as I swing left here. You see that out there on the ice? Let's see if I can catch it here. There. See that? Those are people out there fishing on the ice. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different vehicles here. Oh, there we go. There's the ice, or the people out there ice fishing. And that red thing is a pop-up shelter. And they'll probably have a heater inside of it. Right? And then there's right to the left, somebody's snowmobile. And then over here, there's another one. There's a snowmobile. Way up in the distance is another snowmobile. But they're out on the ice fishing. So, This guy's got a, let's see, that's an F-150. That's a $60,000 truck, right? And guaranteed he's going to have, you know, another $15,000, $20,000 snowmobile that went down those ramps off the back. And he's out on the ice somewhere fishing. But that is what our, you know, I don't want to venture out onto the ice now because I'm not sure how thick the ice is, and there's no plowed road that's been maintained. A maintained road gets much thicker ice under it. So this ice, you know, would be treacherous to drive on. And I don't feel like putting the boss's truck in the bottom of the lake. He would be upset with me. So what you guys all think about, you know, ice roads? This lake is, you know, oh, come on, spin the camera. This lake is huge. You can't even see the north end of this lake. It's about 70 miles north that this lake goes. It's massive. And this bridge that I'm on was built from 1964 to 1968, and it opened in 69. Yeah, here. People walking out on the ice. There's, you know, people just sitting there fishing. There's another group over here. Right there. See that? There's two people out there fishing. Just standing out in the middle of the lake. An 8-inch hole drilled through the ice, and they pull out fish. And just here, where is it? Yeah. So just on the other side of this rock, on the right side of the railroad tracks, there's an old gold mine in there. So this is pretty much the westernmost part of the Canadian Shield. And I showed you the one, you know, airplane place, and the guy has airplanes that fly out to take people to remote camps for fishing and hunting. They're not the only one, because right up here on the left is another one. And there are lots of them around. And they all use pretty much the same airplane, the Piper Caravan, because it is very nimble in the air. And you can get pontoons on the bottom of it. Well, of course, with the ground being frozen solid right now, it's hard for them to, or not the ground being frozen, the water being frozen. They don't take off. So that blue one there, that one's seen some love in the not too distant past, and has been fixed and rebuilt. I definitely know that one's a Caravan. And the orange one behind it, that's another Caravan. But there's a different style. You see that's a bottom wing, and it's a twin engine. So that's a different model. And that one's got the wheels that can be flipped down. But that can only be done on land. There are some, and I don't see it here. They call them amphibious. And they have wheels in the underside of the pontoons that they can land on water or land. And then tucked in between there is a tiny little one. Yeah.
You look radiant.
You see they've got them. Oh. You see they've got them. Let's flip that. Come on, flip it around. They got ropes going from the airplane down to barrels that have been half filled with cement. That's to keep the airplane on the ground if the wind builds up. Oh, look at that. Floats with no plane under it or on top of it. Sorry about that. Here's the location of another old mine. Right there. There's the tracks. As I was putting the phone back in the cradle, I caught the go to sleep button. That wasn't so good. So even though we're starting to head east out of town, as towards Thunder Bay, you can see how they've had to really deal with the topography just to put the road in, moving, blowing parts of mountains out of the way and moving that gravel to fill in low spots. That truck that just went in front of us, that is, so he's heading out to a place where the government has authorized all the trees that grow here to go to a lumber mill or a paper mill to be made into products. and that is one of the major industries of this area, is pulp and paper and lumber. See, I know from having driven in the Philippines, you guys deal with having to move a lot of material to make roads, and also to maintain the roads, because you get landslides. Around here we don't get landslides. There would be rock slides, and when something like that comes down, it can be massive. What is my job? My job, I'll show you sometime when we're at the yard. I work on modular homes, and that is everything to do with the modular home. Plumbing, electrical, carpentry, roofing, drywall, painting, everything. Even the flooring. I've had units that arrive and the floor is damaged, and I've got to cut out the damaged part and replace it, or in the rare occasion that it's a minor blemish, I have stitched the vinyl floor back together. Carpeting, I don't just yank out the carpet and put in new. I know how to put the individual tufts back in, so I can stitch a repair into a carpet rather than just yank and replace. Those are skills that very, very few people do, and in the terms of long-term, or in the big scope of things, the repair like that can take me 4 to 5 hours to do on a patch that's maybe 1.5 or 2 inches in diameter. But to replace the carpet in one room, you're looking at a day, and usually 2 guys to do it. So in the long run, it's cheaper to pay me to do the repair at a much higher rate than having somebody come in and completely replace it. So I can make good money doing that kind of work, and insurance companies and these others love that I have those skills and use them. But as a result, the pickup truck that I'm in, even my passenger seat has tools on it. So I'm always traveling alone. And I'm getting set to put myself into an old medical bus, so that I have more tool space and more space to carry material. Yeah, by the way, guys, I'm turning around. I'm going to head back into town, and you get to watch the sunset, because now I'm facing west. So Rainy Lake has an interesting shape. It's kind of like an L. The top end of the lake is very, very wide and tall. The bottom end is not, it's maybe about half the width, from north to south. But it is also quite long, and we are driving on little islands and basically island hopping through part of Rainy Lake right now. from an island to a peninsula to an island, and what is a modular home? A modular home that is one that is built in a factory, and it can be one piece, two pieces. It's a manufactured housing, basically. You're from the States, you've got it down there, all over the place. FEMA has, thousands and thousands of these houses that can be deployed into, let's say, a hurricane devastation. When you had that one New Orleans, I think that was Katrina. They put in, I think it was 10,000 modular homes, and they arrive on wheels. In the States, the axle configurations are very different than what our government accepts for transportation. We can get them across, but they have to be changed within 300 miles of the border. So, that's another thing that I do is, I bring them into our yard, crack out the big machines, lift it up, let the axles hang in the air, cut the U.S. axle configuration out from underneath of it, and make it ready for the Canadian axle configuration, which is a removable doll. So, the house gets delivered, gets set down on the blocking. There are no axles under it anymore. Whereas in the States, they'll deliver the house to a location and park it up on cribbing, like wood blocks or whatever, and they just leave the axles underneath. And most times it's like for a 72-foot long house, there'll be 6 axles underneath as a minimum, sometimes 8. Am I still where? Yeah, still working there. I've got another contractor that wants me to lift those houses that we installed up in Kenora, staying in the hotel. Spent 4 days there with a crane lifting too low. Oh, sorry. So yeah, so now the contractor that's responsible for the finishing has asked me to come and raise them. But originally I thought they were just going to raise them a few inches, somewhere between 8 and 10 inches, but they want me to raise them 30 inches, and that is with serious responsibilities and repercussions if anything goes wrong. And the other job that I might be getting, or that I'm looking at getting, is working for the company that actually builds these houses that this company sells, the one that I'm with now, because they've been looking for quality control. And I've been working on them long enough that I know where the problems are, what the problems are, and the cause of the problems, and how to implement procedures and policies that will prevent the problems from leaving the factory, or actually even starting. So, if they can't happen, they can't leave the factory. So we're passing, over what they call the causeway again. Watching the fishermen out on the ice. Oh, there we go. There's a train. This one is headed towards Thunder Bay, and it's pulling a whole bunch of grain wagons. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you that they're all full of grain from Western Canada going to the lakehead in Thunder Bay, where they'll be loaded. That grain will be loaded on ships and transported to other countries. Now we're coming back into that First Nation community again. It's called Couchiching. And right here on the left, right there on the left, that is a First Nation band member. He's got 4 trucks sitting here that are pulp haulers. They go and get the logs out of the bush, bring them to the mills. If you stick around long enough, Dave will be able to show you what a modular is, because I'm heading back to the yard. Oh, looks like Dave may have left me. So, Hardy, the scenery looks a lot different in Canada, doesn't it? Very different than the Philippines. Now, right now, my speed is about the same as what you guys travel. I'm just over 60 kilometers an hour. But once I get clear of the other side of the causeway, that speed limit went to 90. 80 for a little bit, and then went to 90. And that's the posted speed limit across northern Ontario. The differences are. Oh, don't be quiet. Oh, okay. You want to keep hearing me talk, or does my quietness mean that it goes swirling? Well, a lot of it has to do with our antenna placements. So, I mean, I love the natural beauty in Canada, but the cold winters are quite hard on my joints, my shoulders, my left shoulder particularly, my left knee. They are every year more painful with the cold, because when they get cold, they get extremely sore. In the Philippines, I don't have to worry about that cold quite so much. So we're going to go back through town, different road. I'm not going to stay along the river this time. I'm going to go, so there's the sign for Rusty Myers. The airplanes that we first saw. And there's the sign, Fort Francis. Welcome to Fort Francis. I don't know who came up with the idea to call it Boundless. Because I'll tell you something. Living in this town's anything but boundless. They throw up so many boundaries around what you want to do and can do and can't do. It's ridiculous. I'm surprised they haven't regulated how many pieces of toilet paper you can use when you wipe. You know, because the toilet paper, you drop it into the toilet and it winds up in the municipal wastewater treatment plant. You know, and they have to deal with that waste. No more, all gone. This is our freshwater treatment plant here on the right. It's getting an addition to it. And another one of our motels here in town, the Bayview. Small, private, independently owned and operated. Restaurant with home cooked meals, and their food is good, really good, with portions that actually satisfy my appetite, not the French Nouveau cuisine, wherein, you know, it's all about the presentation and not about the food or the you know, satisfying somebody's hunger. Nouveau cuisine's all about satisfying the palate. Oh, that looks like I got zero again. Oh, that must be Howdy back. Yeah, you guys are going to get shook around. Up and down and around and side to side. We're passing our local sports complex, which I believe has 2 ice arenas in it. Now you'd think, you know, in a country where we have weather cold enough to make ice naturally, that they wouldn't have buildings where they make ice rinks. But we do. I see Dave is back. Hello, Dave. Again. So I'm driving right through the heart of my town. Now this is the non-truck route. Oh, don't go yellow yet. Okay, now you can go yellow. Good. That was still a green light. You're going to do live later? Okay. Yeah, I know. You said you were going to do live after I did one. But I thought, you know, I've done a whole bunch of lives sitting in my little dungeon. This one I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take my friends for a drive. Oh, actually, you know what? If Dave's still here, I can show him a house that we delivered and set up. It's just around the corner here. So this house was delivered and set up in October. There's our liquor store. And 2 doors over from the liquor store, right there is the house that we delivered and set up in October, the end of October, and they were in by the 5th of November. Now, you know, those stairs are temporary. They have to have landings. That'll be done in the spring after the ground has settled and been brought to final grade. But that's a modular house. That one is a 3-bedroom house.
840 square feet.
Exactly. Thank you for the calculation. So we just made a circle around the block. That building there is part of the old high school. Oh, Hardy, you're going to find this just absolutely hilarious. In the Philippines, drugs are, you know, everything that's called a drug is illegal, including marijuana. As we pass this plaza, I'm going to show you something, and you're going to laugh, because we have stores that sell cannabis. That store is totally dedicated 100% to the selling of marijuana. And there's 3 of them in this town. Because they made cannabis legal in Canada. I mean, they might as well have made it legal. There's so many people smoking it and using it, you know, illegally. Now the government can tax it. Noopy, hey! There you can see what our price is for fuel. $172.9 a liter for regular unleaded. So, let's see. 70, just over 70 pesos, or no, just about 70 pesos. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. I'm having a hard time reading the chat messages here. So we're getting back to guess where? McDonald's, where this live stream began. Oh, it only takes me a few minutes to get to the shop from McDonald's. Those on the right there, Hardy, are campers. So, all but one of them are tow behinds. They're just little houses on wheels that people take to wherever, they want to go on a vacation. And, yeah, it's basically a vacation house on wheels, or also known as an RV, recreational vehicle. The whole industry in on this continent building and servicing. Some people use them as living quarters when they work remotely. Some people use them as homes and they live on the road basically. So that's the main shop right there, and we got 3 homes lined up right there. The 2 on the left are manufactured in Canada for Canadian market. The one on the right is a used unit that came from the United States, and that was a FEMA unit. And the houses are quite nice inside. It wouldn't be my primary choice, but I wouldn't say no if somebody offered me one at a hell of a good price. And then right there, that's a tiny house, but if you look closely, there's 2 of them. They are sitting on one frame. So about 3 weeks ago, I was way up north, almost to Santa's workshop, and I was cutting 3 sets like that apart and making it so that each one could be towed in separately down an ice road to be delivered. And there's a unit behind those shipping containers that is 2 parts. That's 8 separate bedrooms. It's like a bunkhouse. 8 separate bedrooms, common kitchen, a common living room. That's a used unit. It was bought out of North Dakota. There is the truck and the wheels. So the truck is here and the wheels are right beside it that are used for moving houses. And by the end of next week, I will have my license back in place that I can drive that again. I found out that my license had was required a medical that I didn't submit, so they downgraded it on me. Okay. Oops, sorry. I'm back in my dungeon. So, folks, thank you for coming along for the ride. I appreciate it. Dave, Christina, Alex, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Sorry if I've not read your comments. Um, just I'm paying attention to my driving when I'm on the road and trying to read. Yeah, hey Dave. The number of viewers when you're a very small channel, getting viewers on your stream can be hard. It takes time, but thank you for coming here. Yeah. Fortunately, I've got a few people that have become regulars. The three of you, especially, that come in and participate in my chat, and I really appreciate that you come here and just hang out and chat and have a little bit of an interesting discussion. Oh, so I'm going to say good night, all, and I will see Hardy in your stream very shortly.